Hi everyone, my name is Dave, and welcome to Extra Credit, a video series where we take an unscripted look at topics related to local history and exploring that history. All right, so as we normally do before we get started, just a quick reminder to visit my website. You're going to find a link in the description, and there you're going to find all kinds of information related to the explorations that we do, and then some. Also, you can follow me on social media. So you're going to find me on Facebook, you're going to find me on Twitter, and you're going to find me on Instagram. And last but not least, if you haven't already done so, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. There's all kinds of content that drops regularly here on the channel, whether it be related to the explorations that we do or sometimes stuff that maybe is not totally related to local history. But certainly there is stuff that appears on here all the time. And if you're waiting for it to come out on social media, sometimes there's a delay, there's a lag between when it is produced, when it's posted on YouTube, and then when it comes out on social media. So by subscribing and turning on the notifications, you're going to get that content as quickly as it comes out. All right, so as you can see by the title of this, this is a part 3 episode. We are again revisiting the whole concept of hiking and biking, and we've done obviously a couple of episodes in the past talking a little bit about my experiences with using my bike as a tool to hike and to explore and to take a look at the area history. And so we've looked at things like the bike, and we've looked at the gear that I use on the bike. And so this is kind of related to that. And basically this stems from an incident that happened last summer. Now, what we've done is we have done an episode where we have talked about sort of the details of the incident in question. And so earlier this year, we did a Q&A episode, and I talked about basically some of my best experiences that I've had in the past hiking and some of my worst experiences. So this falls into the category of worst experiences. Now, I'm not going to get into all the details of what happened in that particular incident, and I'll post a link in the description so you can basically go over and take a look at that episode and sort of see all of the ins and outs of what occurred. So but just to sort of recap kind of what happened. So this occurred in July of last year, so July of 2022, and we had gone hiking just to the east of Geraldton, and so we were going to take a look at a section of the Kinghorn, basically between Conogmasis Dam Road and Devilfish Bay on Conogmasis Lake. And so in order to get there, we had to boat in. And everything was going fine and great until the return journey. And as I'm talking here, I'm going to flash up a map here so you can kind of see where I'm talking about. On the return journey, I sort of noticed that Luna was kind of lagging behind a little bit. And I was kind of wondering what was going on. And I thought, okay, well, it's July, it's warm, it's a warm day. She's probably getting a little bit tired. And again, I don't want to go through all the details. You can take a look at that episode. But what ended up happening was at one point we crossed a creek. And when we got to that creek, and the creek was just before milepost 13, and I thought, okay, maybe she needs a drink of water. And I took her down to the creek. And when I did that, she took a drink of water, and then she kind of lost my note here. Luna jumped up. She reared up, and I could see her paws were all mangled. I don't know what happened. The best that I can figure, and I talked about this again in that episode, that there was some different ballast that was put down, and the ballast is hard on her paws. And she went over that, and it just basically tore all her paws up. And so she was in a lot of pain. She was having a lot of difficulty trying to walk. And basically we made it to milepost 13, and then basically she shut down, and like she couldn't walk anymore. And to make a long story short, I finished the hike. I came back. Noah was with me. We basically tried to get her to move, and she wasn't having any of that. And so what ended up happening was I essentially, I think, I can't remember the story now, if we got her to 14. But anyway, I ended up having to carry her the better part of 2.5 kilometers. And what I did, because we filmed that episode in the winter time about what had happened, I'm going to show you a little clip here. I sort of last weekend here at the camp, I recreated what that looked like. And so basically I had to have Noah pick her up and put her on my shoulders, and I had to carry her like that. And again, it was hot, it was warm. There's Luna barking at people walking by. I had to carry her on my shoulders, and I had to do it at like maybe 300-400 meters at a time. I would walk, I'd carry her, and again, she's a 60-pound dog, and I'd have to stop and put her down and sort of catch my breath and collect myself. It was hot. We were running out of water. So it was not a particularly great experience. So I remember coming back, and it took her a few days. It took her probably 2-3 days to recover to the point where she was kind of a little bit back to normal. It took a while for her paws to sort of recover, and after that, I was a lot more cognizant of the fact that going on this railway line and with the ballast, those rocks that they place on there is hard on her paws, and so soon thereafter, what I did was I actually made a purchase. And I picked this up off Amazon. And so I bought a bike trailer. Now, it's not the one that you would typically think that you would carry kids in. I had one of those when my kids were younger, right? So sort of the enclosed sort of bike trailer that connects to your bike axle. Um, wasn't like that. I was thinking, well, what's sort of a good idea? Something that she can kind of get out and get into a lot more easily. And so what I settled on was an actual trailer. So it looks like a typical trailer, right? So it has the two wheels. And while I'm talking about this, I'm going to basically show you the sort of the image of it. And basically, it does have a cover that goes on top of it, but it basically just like basically a rectangular trailer. And the idea was that I could put her in there, I could carry her, and that she could hop in and hop out as necessary. The bottom part is metal, and I thought that would be better than one of the child trailers, because obviously being a dog and having paws, those child trailers aren't meant for an animal to sort of sit in. They're meant for kids to kind of sit in. So there's kind of a seat in there, but the bottom part is kind of canvas, and I didn't think that that was sort of conducive to her sort of sitting in there. And so this is why I sort of settled on that. And so what I had, and I actually have to redo it, and I'll show you this in the close-up. Luna's picking up toys, and she's trying to bring me toys here to play with. Hi, Lune. And so I had my mom make a cushion. And as I said, I'm going to have to try to improve on it because it could be a little bit better. So I had her make me a cushion, and basically I attached Velcro to the bottom of the trailer. And so the cushion sits on top of it, and because of the fabric that it's on it, sort of keeps the cushion in place and keeps it from sort of sliding around. And I put that in afterwards. Anyway, so I tried it out a few times here at the camp. I brought my bike to my local bike shop that I use, Fresh Air Experience. I'll give them a little shout out. And they basically hooked up the hitch mount. And one of the things that they recommended, and I'll show you this in the close-up, that I changed. Basically, I changed the axle on that rear wheel, simply because the standard axle that it comes with is not designed for you to hook up the hitch mount, and it was a little bit kind of on the short side. So I did try it out, and I got everything set up. I kind of drove around with her a little bit, and it seemed like it was working out okay. So what we should do right now is I should cut to the close-up of the bike and the trailer, and so you can kind of see how it's all set up, and you can see how I've kind of rigged it together, and then we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the challenges and some of the issues that I had kind of using it in the beginning, and how it's been going so far. So we'll take a look at that close up. Okay, so we've shifted positions. What we're going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you the trailer, but I decided, because I keep it collapsed, I'd show you how it basically all goes together, so you can kind of see the practicality of the trailer. So again, it does fold down, and I'll put it together for you. I have the bike propped up here on a sawhorse. So let's get this thing all sort of put together, and then I'll show you how it goes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plop on the wheels. I did notice they need a little bit of air. Okay, so one wheel is in. Okay, wheels are on. Okay, so the sides just fold up, and then there's pins that hold everything together. So there's the one. Then the, oops, I noticed that got a little bit of a seam coming apart here. So that folds over with the Velcro. Velcro attaches there and there. Now we'll do the front one. So here is the piece of paracord, old cat leash that we use to attach Luna, keep her from jumping out. So that one goes in there. Okay, let's pull that over to the side. Okay, so the Velcro's done up, and then there's a pin that holds the axle in place. And that goes in. So on the inside here, oh my God, she's barking at people on the lake. So I have Velcro, and so this cushion I had my mom make for me. I got to get a little bit different one because I find that this material, like everything sticks to it, like so all kinds of stuff that you pick up outside sticks to it. So that goes in there, and then got a little bit of extra slack in here. So there is the harness, and then here's the nose lead, and so that's hooked up. So then how this hooks onto here is there's a safety strap, and then kind of an interesting connection system, a little bit different than when I had one with the kids when they were younger. So maybe I should show you this. So here is the connection point. So this kid come with the trailer, and then as I mentioned to you, and I'm going to flash this up on the screen, when I did bring it in to get this connected, they did suggest to me that I get a different size axle, the axle pin here, because attaching this basically creates extra length, and the axle that comes with the bike is just obviously the right length for it, and it wasn't long enough. So I did purchase from my local dealer here, so I'll give him a shout out again. So Fresh Air Experience. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll flash that up on the screen there. So it is a Thule one. I can't remember how much it was. It was $60 something for the axle. So basically how it connects, there's a sort of a flex sort of coupling here, and then it kind of goes straight on. Insert your pin, lock it into place, and then put on the safety strap. The only thing that I do find, the trailer's been very, very rugged, been very great. The only thing I do find is that the weight does put pressure, and I can kind of see it happening right now. As I'm pushing pressure down here, it actually spins the whole axle housing. It actually pushes it down and pushes it sort of off kilter a little bit. But other than that, it's been a great setup. So again, it is collapsible. So it does take it down. So basically what I do is I leave it collapsed, put it in the back of my truck, and then when I get out to where I'm hiking, basically you can see it takes me just a minute, 2 minutes to basically put it all together, get it hooked up onto the bike, and then we're ready for our adventure. Okay, so now that you've seen the trailer and the hookup and everything a little bit more in detail, what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about some of the challenges that I had when I initially started using it. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to sort of put in some video clips from the actual hikes, some of those early hikes, and you can kind of see what sort of transpired. So my first time using it was last August, about a year ago this time, because I know yesterday was the 12th, and it was the last day of this little exploration that we did. So Noah and I went to Geraldton for a week, and that was the first time that we were going to use the trailer. And so I remember the very first day, very first hike that we did. So I basically let Luna walk the outward part, so the eastbound part of the hike, and then what was going to do is going to throw her in the trailer, basically for the return journey. And the thinking is that usually when I hike with Luna, if she's kind of just doing one hike, it's fine. But the part where I see her paws kind of suffer a little bit is when we do sort of repetitive hikes. And I knew that we were going to be doing a bunch of hikes that week, and I knew that it was going to be tough on her paws. So I was going to try to use the trailer to kind of mitigate those sort of repetitive exposures to the ballast. So we do the outbound journey. We get to our destination. We get everything set up. I had the trailer attached, and now came time to put Luna into the trailer, and we were going to work our way back. So that's where the fun started, because put her in the trailer, everything's fine. So we start kind of going, and she doesn't want to stay in the trailer. So she keeps hopping out of the trailer, and I'm like, oh my God, how is this going to work? Like I can't bike, and then she's going to just keep jumping out of the trailer on me. Right. And again, I'll play a couple of clips for you here, and you can see me kind of fighting with Luna, trying to get her to stay in the trailer.
Is we are going to jump down and take a look at the bridge structure from the side. Okay, Luna, sit. All right, so we're going to start making our way along the grade here. Luna just jumped out. Luna, come here. Come here. Go in the trailer. Up. Stay. Stay. Sit. Sit. Stay. Stop. Luna, come. Come here. Luna, come here. Come here. Come here. Luna, come. Luna, come here. Come here. Come. You stay. Stop. Come here. Luna, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Treat. Sit. Sit. No, you don't get more treats. You stay in the bike. You're gonna kill yourself. Sit. Sit. Can we put our leash in here? You stay. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I swear to God, dog. I swear to God. You stay.
And so basically, I think the solution I came up with that time was I had one of her leashes with me, and I basically tied the leash to sort of the trailer has the sides to it, and to basically the front bar on the trailer. I tied the leash to that and I hooked it up to her, and I did give her a lot of lead to the leash, and I was hoping the idea that she would basically would keep her in the trailer. And during that hike, and I think I'll play this clip for you. I was like, I don't want to stop because I'm worried that if I stop, she's going to try to jump out of the trailer, and it's a pain in the butt to try to get her back into the trailer.
So here we have let's see if I can slow down enough if you can see that. So we have a speed sign. So it's speed 30, completely mangled, full of bullet holes. Maybe if I can wing around here without Luna jumping out of the trailer. You can see the sign.
So I managed on that first hike, and so the next day we did another hike, and right off the bat, I let her walk, and then on the return trip, put her in the thing, hooked her up to the leash, and that seemed to work a lot better. And what I did this year, actually I did it last year too. What I did was, we have one of the nose harnesses when I take her for a walk. And basically what I did was here she is. I hooked her up with that, and the idea being that, being hooked up by the nose, kind of like when she walks, I felt that would sort of keep her into place a little bit. And so I think on that second hike, I was using that nose lead with her. And what I've done this year is basically I grabbed a piece of, I bought a second lead, one of those nose leads, so that I have one specifically for the trailer. And then I used a small, an old leash that we had for the cats, and it's made out of paracord. And so I have that tied to that front bar on the trailer, and then with the nose lead. And I found that it was much more successful, and I'll talk a little bit more about that after. Now, staying with the challenges. So the first challenge was getting to stay in the trailer. The second challenge was for me. So again, Luna's not a small dog. She's not a huge dog. So the previous dog that we have, Loki, who was a golden retriever, Loki was big. So Loki was like 90 pounds. And so certainly a lot more weight to Loki. So Luna's about 60 pounds or so, 63 pounds, something like that, in that range. But it's still a lot of weight. And so now you're putting this big dog in this trailer, and you're hooking up to a bike. And if you watch those railway explorations that I do regularly, you'll know that it is a challenge biking at times on the railway grade, because of those rocks that impact your paws, that ballast. And now you hook up a bike with 60 pounds, 65 pounds, whatever it is in there, all the combined weight. It creates a lot of drag. And so certainly it is a sort of big challenge for me, trying to bike with her in the trailer, especially when it's warm outside. And so now, again, it's a challenge for me to bike. And I find that if I'm by myself on the bike, I can try to sort of navigate the bike and try to find spots where the ballast isn't as bad. But the problem with the bike trailer is that the wheels sit wider. And so even though my bike might be in the path of least resistance, the trailer isn't. And so now you have the trailer kind of riding through parts of the, if there is thick ballast. And so that just adds even more to the drag that I'm feeling on the bike. And so it is certainly a huge workout, riding the bike. And you can see her, I'm watching the camera, and I can see her in the background kind of walking around the yard. And so it is exhausting, riding with her in the trailer on the bike. And I'll certainly show you a few clips here. There's one I know last year, I remember just saying, I'm a couple from last year saying I'm gassed, right? I'm just exhausted. And I know there was a couple that I did this year, One that was a really long one where I basically had to, here she's bringing me her water toy. I had to bike in a long distance before we actually started the hike. And I remember by the time I got back, I was just completely exhausted. According to, my biking app, I had burned like, 2,000 calories doing all of this biking just simply for the distance. So I'm going to show you a few of those little clips.
Oh, it's a lot of work pulling this dog. So you can see Noah's waiting for us, and the bridge is also milepost 3. All right, there's Noah. Man, I'm gassed. I am gassed. 3 miles or so up to Chemo Station. Yeah, this would totally destroy Luna's paws after yesterday. I'm having a hard time pedaling through this stuff. And again, it wouldn't be so bad if it was just me, but the trailer just bogs everything down. The bike, I can keep the bike in the ruts, but the trailer kind of sits up in the ballast, so it makes it difficult to pedal.
Okay, so in terms of the impact of all of this, certainly the impact has been very positive. Certainly it's helped to mitigate some of the issues that we've had with Luna's paws. Now, I mean, it doesn't solve anything. I know that week of hiking that we did last year, I noticed that just simply trying to hike numerous times, I could see that her paws were pretty banged up by the days. You can actually see. So what happens is, the rocks kind of get in between the pads of her paws, and you can see the sides kind of get a little bit raw. Yeah, it is certainly a challenge on her, and I want these hiking experiences to be positive for her. I want her to enjoy herself. I don't want her to get injured. I don't want her to feel that they're certainly painful for her. So it has certainly helped a lot. I know that I'm a lot more, again, as I mentioned earlier, a lot more attentive and a lot more cognizant of the fact that it is sort of a challenge for her, and I have to be very careful. How much exposure she gets to the ballast, and making sure that I'm not sort of overdoing it. And I know that this year the it seems like she's a lot more accustomed to riding in the trailer. So the couple of hikes that I said that I did this year, it seemed like with the nose lead, with being sort of tied to the front end of the trailer, it seemed like she stayed put. I didn't have challenges with her trying to jump out. Maybe she sort of enjoys the fact that she just gets to sort of see everything, and Dad gets to do all the work. Again, it is exhausting for me, trying to pull around in the trailer. But this was something that, and maybe I didn't mention this earlier, this is something that I had contemplated actually a couple of years ago, realizing that, as time goes on, Luna isn't going to get any younger, and as she gets older, she's not going to be able to physically, never mind her paws, but physically be able to do some of these hikes, right? I mean, when I first started doing these hikes, Luna was a year old, right? And as a year-old dog, she's still a puppy, and she's still got a lot of energy, and she's go 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 go. Well, I mean, Luna's 5 now, and you can see that she's kind of, maybe not as peppy as she once was. And I noticed my wife and I groomed her a little bit the other day, and you can see there's a few little what looks like gray hairs starting to come out. So, in dog years, she's probably in her 30s. And I know for myself, I wasn't the same person I was in my 30s as I was when I'm in my 20s or in my teens. And certainly that's something to be aware of. So it was something that was on my radar, way back when. when, you know, I was sort of thinking about the future of the hikes and things like that. And so hopefully this will be sort of a vehicle that we can use going forward in the future for her to help her, you know, come on the hikes to enjoy herself, but at the same time not physically exert herself, and at the same time keep her her body, you know, from sustaining any type of injuries that I saw last year. Because I know, you know, as a dog owner, and if you have pets, you're probably the same as I am. I mean, they are like children, and you certainly don't want to see them hurting. You don't want to see them in pain. And I know after that, when I felt quite awful about what had happened to her, you know, seeing the amount of pain that she was in, injury that she sustained to her paws, and the time that it took to sort of to recover from all of that. And I wanted to make sure that we didn't go down that road again. So anyway, um, this has certainly become a another piece of equipment in my toolbox. Again, it is not something that is very easy to do. It is certainly a huge challenge trying to do things with her in the trailer. And I know for myself, I'm not getting any younger either. And so hopefully we're going to be able to continue to use this in years to come. And hopefully this doesn't have too much of an impact on me, because certainly I don't want to, you know, have an injury or have a heart attack while I'm out trying to bike. So it's important for me to do things like stay in shape and making sure that I'm active and taking care of myself as well. So anyway, hopefully this is you know, something to contemplate if you do have a pet that you want to take with you, you know, certainly it's an option. If you're doing long hikes, I'm sure you're probably not going on railway grades like I am, but it's certainly something to keep in mind when you're traveling or exploring with your animals. If you want to try to help to sort of, you know, keep them from overexerting themselves and potentially any types of injuries. And certainly it's working out well for myself. And certainly maybe down the road I can give you more updates in terms of how things are going with the trailer. And I'm certainly going to be using it in the future, because we are going to be doing more episodes of Extra Credit in the fall. And I know both of those, or at least one of those episodes, I know it's going to be a little bit longer travel. And so I know I am going to be using, for sure, going to be using the trailer on that episode, because basically we're going to be traveling a long journey. And again, I want to make sure that she doesn't sustain any types of injuries and things like that. So hopefully you've enjoyed all the information that I presented. Hopefully you've enjoyed the episode, and you know, talking a little bit about some of the challenges that we have sometimes getting out in the outdoors with our pets. We will be back with more episodes. So usually August is where we kind of cut off, and then we sort of take a little bit of a break. But because we missed an episode in May, I do have an episode coming up next month in September, and then there's probably going to be about a month break. Like I said, I am going to be filming some episodes of the Kinghorn series for Extra Credit, where we're going to visit places on the grade. And so I will be filming a couple episodes of those in the fall, so I'll have those ready for the winter time. And we have, you know, other episodes that are planned as well. Again, if you do have any suggestions for things that you would like me to cover or things you'd like me to visit, please drop them in the comments or send me a message, and I'll certainly try to see what I can do in terms of the, you know, fitting those into the schedule. But in any case, thanks once again for tuning in. Again, stay tuned for the next episode dropping next month. In the meantime, make sure you visit my website, check me out on social media. But otherwise, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching the episode, and please stay safe.